Hello YouTubers, I wanted to come today and do a diamond art video, but I thought rather than you watch me do a diamond art, I'll show you how I personally set up to do a new one. Okay, and I'll show you what I do with all my old beads as well. This is the one that I was doing the last time, and I did say I would come back and do the head with you, but I was too impatient and just sort of did it. As you can tell, it's absolutely beautiful, round beads. And the only thing I'm not keen on is his eye. So I think what I'm going to do is this part here, I'm going to take out the bead and I'm going to replace them for some white ones. Now I've got some left over from this one, which was Diamond Art Club, if you remember. If you look back on my previous videos, you can see this one being partly done. So I've got some left over there, and diamond art tend to include, can you see them? Like some really sparkly ones. So I'm going to find some of them, and I'm going to put that in his eye, and I think that will just improve him. But he is, as I'm sure you'll agree, stunning. The quality was not too bad at all. Very few wrinkles in, if hardly any, in the sticky base, the sticky backing, and little bit of irregular round drills every now and again. But for the most of it, it was a pleasure and enjoyable to do. So I would certainly recommend him to anyone. Okay, right, so I'm going to pause this and meet you back in the kitchen, because I have to do my diamond art in the kitchen because my desk isn't big enough, and I've got other stuff on it. So we'll go back into meet you back in the kitchen, and I'll show you how I get started with new diamond art. See you in a minute. Right, okay, so here I have my new diamond art. It's a big one, got it for my birthday. Now this one's an extremely special one. Last April, at the start of the lockdown, the first lockdown, it was awful. We lost our old Rottweiler Shepherd. We'd had Harley for 10 years, got him from a pup. He ended up, his back end went on him, and he had to go down the vets and be put to sleep. My husband was the only one that could go. I couldn't go. And it was traumatising for everybody. My daughter, everybody, the whole family, my older children, my mum, everybody, my uncle, everybody absolutely fell in love with Harley. And he was one of the best dogs I think I've ever had. Obviously there's Willow down there. I don't know if you can see Willow, and no doubt you'll hear her at some point because she snores like a big piggy. And we'll go from there, really. So this is one that my mum got me for my birthday, and she had a picture of Harley, we used to call him Harley Bear, printed on a diamond art for me. So this is this next one that we'll be doing. So it is made by 5D painting. I don't know if you can see that. And my goodness, there is a lot of colours. Now they come in a bag like so. So every time I finish a diamond art, I have my diamond art box, which this is just an old aftershave box. My son's terrible for his aftershave, so every Christmas we get him some, and he gives me the boxes. My other gold one, if you see in previous videos as well, the gold one's got some of my embellishments in. So in here we've got all the bags and everything. The wolf that I've just done, there. So that's all the spare ones. Then each bag, I picked the top of of my little container off. These are sets of 4. It was Lucy gave me these. I think that's, Lucy just adds colour. I'm pretty sure. I will double check that. And I always put them in here, so you're always going to get some that drop off by accident, especially over time before you either put them behind glass or you cover them or coat them with something. And just in case, so I know that if I need to, I've got them here. Now I never used to do this. I used to put them inside a big Tupperware tub, and I've got thousands of them in a Tupperware tub. But now I do this because it seems silly not to do that. If you go for diamond art, from Diamond Art Club, they use DMC numbers. Now, anybody who knows anything about cross-stitch silks, basically, that you would use on embroidery and things like that, they have got a DMC number on the main sort of the brands I know anyway. And the Diamond Art Club follow the same DMC number. So every time you get, I can't show you in a moment, you open them and they have a number on them. I'll show you in a minute how I connect the number to the symbol and put them on here. And then I'll show you in a moment. But I don't know about the other companies, whether they use the DMC number or not, but I keep them together like that. So for this I know that I'm going to need my tweezers, my pointy nose sharp tweezers. They sent me some. 9 times out of 10 you'll get sent a couple of these, maybe a long one and a short one and a 3 and a 1 and whatnot. And they usually send you small boats. I don't like using small boats. I've got a big boat, so I use the big one. And I always use and keep 2 out. Now I think one of them's a 10 and one of them's a 12, or could be 8 and a 10 if you can see the 2 different sizes there. Some people don't like using these. I do. I find them okay. They're all right to use. They work well for me. So I like the 2 white ones. I mean, it's just personal preference. There's probably not much in it, but that's the 2 I like. Now, every time I finish it, I always empty both ends and leave them empty for when I want to use them. This one actually has gone up into here. But the pink clay, if not used and left out, can go hard over a large amount of time. So I've got a bag full of them, because you don't always use them. Not all of them, anyway. So I'm just going to get one out. So we've got one. I'm going to use one of these ones. It did come with, it will have come with some clay and pens and everything. And as you can see, it's probably one of those. It was just, it probably fell out the bag. Oh, it did come with a gripper as well, I think, but I don't like using those. Okay, I'm trying to find one. I've not. Okay, that one's been started, but it'll be okay. So being sure to sort of seal them back up into your bag. Okay. So what do I do? Oh, let me just get my little scissors out as well. These are pinking shears. I got these from my husband's bamboo plant, but they work great. Okay, so I'll just put that out of the way. So what do I do when I first get a new diamond art? Like I say, I go along and I peel off all of these that I've stuck on. And I put them in the bag with the coloured gems, drills. And then I go along with some double-sided sticky tape. This you can get from Hobbycraft for, it's something like £3 for 5 rolls. It's quite cheap. And 1 roll will last you forever. Okay. And I pick the tops off these and then I cut out some paper. This is one way of then I don't have to keep purchasing these. I can reuse them. And then I stick that on. Now I use scrap paper, anything I can find. Save on sort of using my paper and everything. Okay, and then we go from here. So I'll just put those back in the box. Now this one's going to be a bit different because it's a square drill. I don't normally do square drills. They're much more, you can't just go along and bang them in. There's well, you don't bang them in, you know what I mean. You can't just sort of fly along going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can't do that like bum, 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 bum. This one you've got to make sure it is straight, because what will end up happening is if you start straight here and then there, and then you end up going slightly off, what will end up happening is by the time you get over this side, it will be like that. So you must always make sure that you've got your upright and keep checking it. And if it's not right, just gently push it. Okay, so a metal ruler is very, very, or any ruler is very, very important. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do, now I can instantly tell that some of these bags are going to be too many to put in my boxes. But I'll show you what we do. Ooh, Now I'm a bit of a stickler. I don't ever shut this at night, and I have to be careful because my cats can stand on it and flick them out. And the lids now, they're getting, I mean they still clip shut, but they're getting a bit more tired. I keep a pen that's got blue, red and black on it, and pencil, so that if the coding is a different colour, I can write it on there. Now in here should be a key. Now sometimes they put them on the sides of the pictures, which is very annoying. There we go, there it is. Now it is on the side of this picture, but we haven't got to rely on it on the side of the picture. And I'll show you for why. Just want to keep that out of the way. You don't want to put them anywhere it's going to get damp. So here we should have the key. So this one hasn't got the picture on it. Usually it's got the picture stamped on it as well, but this one hasn't. It's just, sorry about that. It's just the key. So we're going to push all these over one side, and we're going to work down the key chart. So the first one is, if you can see on here, well probably not actually, but if you can see on there, the first one is a Y, and the number is 152. So you have to sort through, and it might be number 1 actually. Right, there's number 4, number 1. Okay, so we get the bag that's got the number 1s in. It says number 1 there, look. And then 152 there. So just make sure that it's all the same, otherwise you can end up making a mistake. And then, so I know that that's a number 1, and I know there's 152 of them. So in the first one, I'm going to tip my number 1s. Now normally, I mean you could keep them in the bags if you wanted to. The first square drill one I ever did, which was the fairy, I kept in the bags. But it is easier to keep having these and just going back to them every now and again and whatnot, as long as you can fit them in comfortably. The ones that are too many in one bag, that I should just leave them in there, put the code on the bag and the number. Oh, are they all going to fit in? Ooh, I think they might. And pretty much now this is what I sit and do until I have sorted everyone. Now I'm going to keep these bags because then when I put them away I have got the number. The number's already on the bag. Okay, yeah, that was a bit of a tight squeeze for that one. And then just, if you bang them down, they will find their own way and it will fit in there better. Okay, so that's the first one. So I'm going to pop that in my box. On the top here, we're going to draw. So I know it's number 100, so it's number 1, 152, and it's a Y. Okay. So if you, make that a bit clearer. So if you can see that, I've put the number on there of what it is, and the number, I'm not sure if this is how many there are, 152. It could be, I'm not sure, but I'm going to write it on there anyway. This is a different setup to what I usually get. Normally I just have the number of it, which one it is, and so you can just cross-check it if you're not sure, and the symbol. So that's the first one, Y. Now number 2, it's quite a tedious job, but I think the more you're organised, the better you'll find your experience of doing a diamond art. It's definitely worth taking the time. Willow, what are you doing, darling? Number 2. Now I know that's going to be too big to go in one, so I'm going to split it over 2. And I'll just literally copy exactly the same. So number 2, number 2, it's 154. I think that's probably the amount. Oh no, maybe not. 154. And then on here I can see this is right, I'm not sure what that is. There's a bit of a line going across the middle. I will double check that when I open up the... I'm going to just do 2 lines going down for now, because that might be like so, but it might be a H, I'm not sure. But I'm going to double check that as soon as I open it. So I know that I've got 154, number 2, but I'm going to put a little star next to it so I can just double check that so I can make sure it's right. So I'm going to go through, categorise all of these, and then I'll come back to you when it's time to stick it on the board and everything, and then we'll look at how we do that as well. Okay, speak to you soon. Right, ladies and gentlemen, so I've left these ones in the bag. As you can see, I've sort of married it up to a code, and there's my symbol on the corner, that one's a C. And each one of them that are in the bag, so there's just too many for me to house in the plastic containers. But what I'll do is keep these in the lid here, and then I've got all of these, which are all done, if you can see, with the code, the number, and everything that marries up. So those will live up the side over here, so that they're all there. I'll just point you in that direction so you can see. So it sits on the side over there, which is on my cupboard next to me. Okay, right. Here we go. So, how do I fit them onto the board? I have to excuse my coffee. So I'm just going to zoom out for a second. Oh, let's zoom in. Okay, so I've got my light board here, all plugged in, ready to go. And on the side here, as discussed earlier, I've got my key codes. So if there's one that I'm not 100% sure on when I look at it on the canvas, I can refer back to my key code, and then it'll be easier because I can follow the number. Okay, so I always start at the bottom. So here we go. I'm just going to move my mug of coffee, if you'll excuse it. So I always start at the bottom because then the top can sort of hang over, if that makes sense. Ooh, just throwing it about all over the place. Now, sat the other side of this board is my husband, who is waiting to put the clamps on the top, which is what I do. So I'm just going to hang that over, and then he waits there patiently while I get it into place, and I line it up to the bottom of the board. Okay, let me pull it this way a little bit. This is not an easy task. This is quite fiddly, this bit, because it's obviously all... I'm going to roll it, I think, the other way so we can get a little bit of straightness about it. I'm rubbish at this. The quality of the canvas... Oh my goodness, I'm making a right pig's ear of this. Quality of the canvas is very good. Much like the wolf that I've just done, that was also quite a soft, gentle canvas. It's soft to the touch more so than a lot of them, which you can always tell if the quality of the canvas is pretty good, then generally the quality of the diamond art is good. Right, now let's try that. Oh my goodness, got a mind of its own. Okay, so that's where we want it. So he's going to just stick a clamp in the corner. That's it. And then one in the other corner. Trying to keep it as straight as you can. Let's get that off there. Perfect. So that's it held on there now for a moment. Now I always stick my edges down as well, because otherwise it just flails about all over the place, and when you're trying to move them about it just doesn't work. It just causes you more aggro than not. So I always use masking tape, otherwise you tend... And this masking... There we go. Okay. Otherwise it tends to be... it takes all the boarding off your wood bit off your board. Oh my goodness. Now I've made a mess of that. Okay. So stick it down. Now obviously you've got to be able to feel your light board behind it. So I will do 2 rows. Everything's very curly tonight. My masking tape and my picture. Okay, 2 rows, and then it sticks it down nicely. Get it the side that you always work from. Now I like to work from left to right. So I've just moved that over. Okay, and get it right to the edge, like so. Now I'm going to stick that to my picture because I'm not too worried about having it stuck on my picture, on my key, because it's masking. Oh my goodness. I'm making a complete pig's ear of this. Because it is masking tape, it should come off fairly easy. And if it doesn't, as long as it's not the actual key that makes and has any problems. Okay, done it again. I've done it again as well, haven't I? Oh, right, no, I've got it. Right. So there we go. So we are now anchored down. I'm going to zoom you out a little bit more. So this is what we've got. So what I'll do now is come along here. Stick a bit on the end there to stop it from moving. Right, so I will now, in the past I have washi taped the edges where it's sticky right to the edge here. Some people cut it off. I don't like doing that in case I end up damaging the diamond art picture or something along those lines. Right, now, nothing is sticking, everything is curly. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. I'm going to have to stick a bit along the bottom as well, look, because it's such a curly picture. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's whatever you need to do, wherever you need to stick it. And that will work. Oh, sorry, just knocked the camera. Okay. Just stick a bit along here underneath. Now obviously if you stick the light board down, wherever you stick it to, you're going to have to move it when you come to doing the next part, which I will have to move mine, so that's okay. I'd rather have it secure than not at all. So with this, what I'm going to do is, normally I divide it up into like 3 chunks, so probably the width of the board nearly. So if I went there, yeah, that would work about right. Like so, just give it a little nick at the bottom. Oh, it's very sticky. This is always hard to do on the first one. And then I just take it up a certain amount of way and then cut it along the top, like so. Stick down your edges that you're not working on. Now this is something to remember. If you're going to stick over it, well, like when I've finished at night, if I'm not 100% finished that area and there's still sticky bits on it, don't put it away like it is. It needs sticking back down, because otherwise things like hair stick to it, dust and all sorts. So do that. But if you've done like I've just done and ripped off this edge here, I did that because I want to show you what happens. It causes it pulls the backing away from the front. So when you go to stick your piece of paper back on, always stick it on the way it came off. So like so, like that. Cover up as much as you got. I've got a little bit down here that's missing, but that's all right. By the time we get on and start over this side, with our gems, it will work itself out. If you've got the bottom showing, like I just cut that off. So like, if you can see that edge, if you can see, that is literally paper. Now if you stick that to your diamond dart, it is going to stick and you're never going to get it off. So just so you know, if you're going to do it, don't rip it, cut it. Don't be disturbed by the creases on the top. They're probably only on the top, just from the top in of the piece of paper that goes over the top. That's nothing to worry about. So, what do you do first? Peel it off. Now I keep this to hand, so I can stick it there. And then when I'm doing this part here, I can lean on it. Okay, otherwise it'll stick to your hand and you'll never get it off. They are so sticky. So the first thing I've got is a metal rule. Now I want to stick that down the very edge to make sure you get a nice straight edge. So it's the very first line is really important. Okay, now because that's sticky down the edge, it sticks. The trouble is my ruler's not the cleanest one, and I've just realised that, because I use it for all my other arts and crafts as well. Okay, so get it as close as you can like that, and then when you start your... That needs to move over slightly. And that's annoying, isn't it? When you start your diamond dart, then you can make sure that your first piece is square, upright square. So if you can see that, it's dead straight. And then the way I start it is I just literally pick out either a letter or a number that jumps at me. Now the T is jumping at me. So I find T, because remember earlier we did all the keys and everything. Okay. So we're going to zoom in a little bit now. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to move that down so you can see what I'm talking about. Oh, there we go. Try zooming in again. Sorry, don't mean to make you feel a bit sick there, my camera. Okay, like I say, my placement's not great because I'm in the kitchen, so normally it's set in the lounge. I might do my desk. Right, so here we are, nice and close. So we're going to do T's first. Remember we did the T's? No, that's these ones here. So I have... Put my scissors out of the way. Got my tweezers ready. Oh. Okay, so they're going over here. I always keep them out to one side so that if I get stopped halfway through or anything like that, I can just put them straight in the boat, and I know because it's the empty one, that's the one we're doing. I always do that, whether I need 5 or 15 or whether I need 50. Because I just then know that it's okay. So fill up your pens with your clay. That's the first thing to do. Now I always fill up the little ones first, and I always fill it up on both pens. Because if I'm using one, then I know that I've got them and they are free to use in the other one. Okay, and then fill up the other ends. Make sure they're nice and even. Flatten them out, and I always get rid of any excess. Okay. So that's that one done, look. Oh, I can't see it at all, can you? So I've done that end. That's my 3. And there's my single one. Now this is the pen I use the most, but I do use the larger gang pen as well. So it is important that I fill that up, because that is equally as important when it comes to doing larger areas. Just push it in, make sure it's nice and solid in there. Ooh. Okay, there we go. So there's the big one that I use. I think that fits on 8 or 10. So then I just push this to one side, because at times you'll get to the point where you'll think, oh, it's empty because it's not picking them up. So you'll need to use them and just stab it in again. So I do always keep that just to the side of me. I will show you that in a moment. Okay, so we're doing teas. I'm going to tip a whole thing in, like I say. So that's a whole tub of tea that I've just put in there, look. Oh. There. Okay, into my large boat. Shake it. If you shake it backwards and forwards, it will stick into the... And then if you want to do it like that and gently do that, it goes into the big long lines, so you can use the long one. Or I don't worry too much about it. So now I'm going to... Now these are square ones, don't forget. So I'm going to move my piece of paper in slightly further. Because this part here, this all the way down this one side is really important. These have got to be straight. So now I'm just going to come along and start. So I'm probably not going to use the large gang, but using the large gang will keep them straight. Always do remember that. Some people do them in a checkered pattern, if you've got a largish area. But I don't like that. It's not for me. And if it's not straight, don't let it go. Either peel it off, use your tweezers and pull and sort of straighten it out, because if you don't, it will not look right. By the time you get to the other end of the board, it will be completely skew with. So if you've got one that's misbehaving, don't take it. Take it off, or until you've managed to reset it into the position you want to. It must do as it's told. Otherwise, like I say, it will look dreadful. So I've done my teas all down that one side now. So I'm just going to go along now, and I do this for this entire square that I've got here. Okay, and we're just going to go along. If you can see that, I might zoom you out just a little bit. Oh. So like I said earlier, I want to do justice to this one as well, because this is like our old dog. This is going to go up on our lounge wall in commemoration of him. See, that one's skewishy. And once you've finished one, just go along and make sure that all of them are where you want them to be. And it's probably not a good idea, like I'm sat skew whiff at the board at the moment. I will, when the camera goes away in a bit, turn it so it's flat facing me. Otherwise it's very, very difficult to control them as well. This one's being really particularly naughty. Okay, let's try that. Now the other thing I wanted to show you was when I use my large, I need to show you this down here, so I'm just going to zoom out for a second. There's ways everybody does it differently. You will make your own ways. No, there are no right and wrong answers, and there are no right or wrong ways of doing it. But I just want to show you this. Okay. Now I will go along, if you go along and push these into place with, let me zoom in, with this part of your, see how they overcome and crunch up, like, look, they just kind of run into each other. Now I have discovered over many diamond art and many months of messing about with them, that if you use the side, this side here, and keep it straight, they will, look at that. I don't know why, but that's just something that I have noticed. And always go for the middle part. And see how neatly that picks that up? If you can see there, that is completely full at the bottom. Now spacing wise, you can tell that's going to be great because there aren't any gaps or anything like that. If you're not happy with it, knock it off and start again. But so when you put that on, that's going to go square on. Now when you do it, push down on the top one is where you want it, that one first, and then kind of gently pull it downwards as you start at the top and gently pull it downwards as you put it on. And that will allow you to get it a little bit more even over all of the whole line. Because some people sort of say that they can't use the larger ones because they don't go where they want to. That is because some people just come along and just stick them straight on like that. And that doesn't work. The other thing I don't do is go that way. I never go long ways. Always only that way, straight up. Because going that way, it just, I personally can't do it. I don't like it. They never seem to go on properly. And that's just how I like to do it. So, right. So I'm going to leave you with those thoughts. Have a go at a small one. Especially a square drill. They slow me down completely. They're not the easiest, shall we say, to take and keep straight. That is your main aim. Take your time, make sure they are straight. If they are not as happy and you're not happy with it, don't leave it at it. Go back and straighten it out, because it will only cause you problems later on. Pick one area to work on. Don't take it as a whole, otherwise it all just becomes too much. Okay? And trying to do part of it over here and some of it over here and some of it over here, you'll just end up with a complete headache and a load of diamond art that looks completely wrong, and that would be awful. Okay, so there's my picture of my Harley Bear, if you can see that on the edge there. I'm going to zoom in, see if we can get him on there. Oh my goodness, I'm losing the plot. Is that him there? Do you see him? What I should do is, as you watch, I'm going to do different videos on this one, because of it is a difficult one to do, and I've never done one that's our own picture before. So this is like a new one for me, and it's a very important one for us. So I'm going to sign out with you now. So thank you for watching, and please do keep an eye open, and you'll be able to follow my progress over the course of however long, and we'll go from there. I'll do like a chunk so you can see what's going on and see how it's actually developing. I'm quite excited to see what it's going to look like, and we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. Keep your eyes peeled. Hit that subscribe button so you don't ever miss a video that I release. And if you've got any questions, please write it in the comments below. I do have an email address which I believe is attached to my YouTube account, which I think you can see. And follow me on Instagram, Crafts at Home with Lisa. So thanks for watching then. Speak to you soon.